Does anyone have any questions about anything, the assignment or anything in the call?
For the assignment,
I do have.
respond to anybody else's.
Yes, sorry.
For the animal science career assignment that we had, do we have to respond to anybody else's post, or do we just do our own?
Just do your own.
Okay.
I have a question about it. How in depth do you want our answers to be?
Pretty in-depth, like just to show that you have a really good understanding and that you actually researched a position. So kind of more than just like a one-sentence answer. I know like for the industry question, that's going to be a one-sentence answer. But for like the qualifications and the responsibilities and why it interests you, kind of really expand on that.
All right.
Does that answer your question? Like a couple sentences, like 3 to 5.
Would it be kind of like that website you gave us that, for an example of how they had it listed, something like that?
Yeah, you could do something like that, just to show that like, you actually researched a position and you didn't, just make up some little jobs. I really wanted it to be able to kind of give you a chance to look at what jobs are out there and kind of maybe find a job that interested you that you don't.
Can you get a little closer to your microphone or turn the volume up on your microphone a little bit?
Yes, it is all the way up. Is that better?
Step away and get back.
Slightly. Yeah, if you lean back, I guess you're using the microphone on your laptop?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not the greatest, but okay.
Is that any better?
I don't know. I guess we'll roll with it.
Okay. I can. Is there anything I can do to like try to turn it up?
If you turned it up, that's pretty much all that there is. There's no microphone volume setting out. Well, it might be in the lower left-hand corner of your by the mute thing, but.
Guys, has it been a problem in the previous time?
What was that? We didn't hear you.
Has it been a problem before, or is it just?
No, just today.
Okay, that's strange. Yeah, everything is up. So. At all?
I mean, we sort of hear you, but.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been working before, and my volume is up all the way, so I'm not sure. To the left, it's registering my voice. It says.
Which it could be your internet bandwidth. Your video's breaking up a little bit too, so that may be it. I guess just go with it. Project from the diaphragm like your drama teacher taught you, and see what happens.
Okay, I'll try to be loud. Just like let me know if at any point you can't hear me or anything.
That actually sounded better there.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. Nothing else is on my internet, so hopefully. All right. Well, I will go ahead and get started.
It's chapter 5. Yay!
You all see that?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, good. When I pull up the share screen, it covers like where I need to hit to open the slideshow. Okay, so today we're going to be covering Chapter 5, which I know quite a few of you are probably excited about. So we're going to be talking about horses today. The objectives of this lecture are to give an introduction to horses. We're going to talk a little bit about the classification and evolution of horses, the domestication of horses, the history of the use of horses, some definitions and terminology, horse reproduction, genetics, and housing. We're going to cover a little bit of everything. We're also going to talk about breeds of horses, uses of horses, horse races, and abuse of racehorses, donkeys and mules, and consequences of the decline. So just to give a little introduction, horses and ponies are domesticated members of the species Equus habilis. And throughout Eurasia, Northern Africa, and the Americas, after the arrival of Europeans, there's a very close relationship between people and horses. So the difference between a horse and a pony is usually their size. So ponies are considered below 14.2 hands in height at the shoulders or the withers. And if you don't know where that point is, I'll show you that in a second. So that's about 58 inches or 147 centimeters. So there are a few exceptions to this kind of general rule. Welsh ponies are called ponies regardless of their height. And there's a breed of very small horses that are called miniature horses that are definitely under 15. So those are just kind of a few exceptions to that rule. So how do you measure a horse's height? For those of you that don't know, a horse's height is measured in a unit known as a hand. And so that is actually equal to 4 inches. Way back when, it was kind of like the size of a man's hand, turned sideways, is about 4 inches. That's why it's called a hand. And so when you measure a horse height, you measure it from the ground and to the point of the wither. So you can see that on this picture here. So don't measure it like all the way up to their ear or anything, not the highest point on the horse. So this part just shows you some differences in the heights between breeds. So as you probably know or could have guessed, Clydesdales are going to be some of the tallest at 17 to 18 hands. And then you have your thoroughbreds, paints, Arabians, half-swinger, Welsh ponies, and way at the other end, you have the little miniature horses that are under 38 inches. So just to kind of show you the large difference across. So now we're going to talk a little bit about how horses are classified scientifically. And so just to kind of review what you may have already had, like biology, but just in case you forgot, kind of organisms are classified by kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, and then genus. So as those go down, they get more and more specific. And a good way to remember that I learned was King's Play cards on fat green spool. So that's going to help you keep it in order if you need to think about it that way. But I just wanted to kind of review that so that you understand when I say order. If you had forgotten that or haven't had biology. So horses are in the order Perissodactyla, and that order contains all of the odd-toed ungulates. So those are plant-eating and grazing. So an ungulate is any hoofed mammal. That's basically what that term means. So you have your odd-toed that are horses and rhinoceroses and things like that. And then you have even-toed, which are your cattle, your pigs, camels, deer, because their hoofs kind of split off, so they're even and they're odd. So horses are in the family Equidae, and that family has horses, donkeys, zebra, the Asian wild ass, wild horse, and the ancestors of today's horses diverged from those of the donkeys and zebras 2.4 million years ago. So they actually split quite some time ago. So the evolution of the horse kind of appears like a gradual increase in size from the earliest in that family. And the earliest ancestor was previously called the Neohippus, I guess is how you say that. So horse ancestors were medium-sized equidae, and such as the Mesohippus about 40 million years ago, and the Myohippus about 24 million years ago. Just kind of show you this, and this doesn't have every single ancestor. There's some kind of in between these, like the ones I just mentioned on the previous slide are actually not on this picture. But this just kind of gives you an overall view of how they really increased in size from the very first ancestor to today's modern. So, for example, that one in the middle, the Merychippus, would stand approximately 10 hands. It's still pretty short compared to what we have today. Much of the evolutionary history of the Equidae family was in North America. Some of the genus Equus actually migrated to South America and Asia 2.6 million years ago. And then in Asia, they actually diverged to the ancestors of horses and the people. The wild equids were present until about 12,000 years. And one thing with horses is that the evolution is not linear. There are many different branches and in many different areas. these species, these animals kind of evolved off of many different things. So it wasn't just like a straight shot and it all, everyone came back. And so today, all branches except the equus branch are. So horses were domesticated about 6,000 years ago, around 4,000 BC. First, domesticated horses were used for food, such as meat, milk, and blood, as well as transportation. And having horses actually allowed for more successful success in hunting large game. So it was able to lead to a population increase of the early people because they were able to feed more people and really sustain themselves that way because they could have horses. And so because horses were used for transportation and things like that and hunting, it was able to actually also revolutionize warfare because you could have horses pulling a chariot that could attack another group of people that would be a lot faster and a lot stronger than just people attacking people. So they really changed a lot of things there. So it's suggested that horses actually played a critical role in the spread of the Proto-Indo-European language around 4000 BC. They were used to pull chariots in around 2000 BC. The use of the stirrup was in 500 AD. And then the horse collar used for plowing was in 800 AD. So just a couple little dots on the history map of the horse. So to kind of continue a little bit about the history, the first domesticated horses were brought to the Americas in 1493. And feral horses, or mustangs, spread through the Mesoamerica area and into North America and the Great Plains in 1540. The U.S. Civil War was one of the last major wars that had a cavalry, and in 1866 to 1890, horses were used on cattle drives out west. So just kind of important historical things there. So this picture just shows you some external horse anatomy. I'm not going to ask you to know every single one of these. It's just kind of more for your reference. Some of them we'll talk about a little bit later when we get to things later in the lecture. Things that you look at when you're doing body conditioning before and things like that. So those body parts I would kind of expect you to be a little familiar with, but you're not going to need to know every single one. So now I'd like to talk a little bit about equine conformation. This is actually not in your books, so this is coming from other sources, but I kind of thought it was important for you to learn, especially if you're going to be buying a horse or kind of horse judging or anything like that. I think it's always good to talk about. So equine conformation evaluates a horse's bone structure, musculature, and body proportions in relation to weight. And it's kind of basically, you kind of think of it as how well balanced is the horse anyway. And this is really important because conformation problems can limit a horse's ability to perform specific tasks. So it's really important to be able to evaluate it and know if your horse is actually suited for the activity that you want it to do. And like I said, it's important to evaluate before purchasing a horse or before. There are a lot of different aspects of conformation, and the major one is balance. Like I said, you can kind of think of it as like an overall balance. The balance is your most critical aspect of a horse's conformation. It is essential to the quality of movement and performance, and it's mainly determined by their bone structure. So balance refers to the equal distribution from the front of the horse to the back of the horse, and then from its top to its bottom, and then from side to side, so all aspects. Balance is not determined by the horse's weight, but it's really determined by the proper angles and proportions of different parts of the body. So that was kind of a lot on that slide. So just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about with these pictures. So this horse up here has ideal balance. So the shoulders and the hips are at a 45-degree angle. And you can see overall just the shoulders and everything are really, really well balanced. But what you really want to look for is that 45-degree angle with the hips and the shoulders. So the hips and the shoulders could either be steeper or flatter, and there are different problems associated with either one of those. Just to kind of give you an idea, so if you can see in these pictures kind of compared to this ideal horse at the top, down on your bottom left, this horse has a steeper angle of the shoulder. So that horse would have a more jarring movement and a shorter stride length because it would not be able to get the full range of motion there with that steep angle. And then over here on the right, you have a steeper hip. So that's a lot steeper than this 45-degree angle at the top. So like the steeper shoulder, it will lack the range of motion to be able to power its movement. So if you're riding a horse like that, it may kind of be a little rougher than if you're riding one with an ideal balance, and it can kind of affect their joints and things like that. So just kind of give you an overall idea of things that you need to look at as far as balance and angles and things like that. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about some. So another aspect after balance that's really, really important is structural correctness. And that's determined by the structure and the position of the bones of the legs. And this is obviously critical because a horse's legs take tremendous impact when, no matter what job it's doing, when it's running, doing anything, they're taking a lot of impact. So conformational defects can really affect the way that they move and can lead to future lameness if it's not, if they're used too much for something that they can't do based on their leg conformation. So more structurally correct means that there's more even distribution of the impact throughout that leg, and that horse will be less prone to injury. So just to show you a little bit, some pictures on front leg conformation, kind of the problems that you can have with the forelegs. So you can see this one is normal. You can tell that that looks really, structurally symmetrical and everything. You have that line kind of from this point going straight down the front. So this one would be really wide. The horse's stance is really wide. And then you can tell this one's narrow. Some other problems that you can have, they can be toed out or splay-footed. So you can see that their hoofs kind of towards the side, and that's definitely not a good problem. The opposite of that is pigeon-toed, where the hooves are kind of turned in, and so that's going to definitely affect the way that they're moving. And then your bow-legged, where their front legs kind of go out here, and they're not really in a straight line like they are in the normal conformation. And then you have knock-kneed, where the knees kind of sit, and they can even possibly knock together if it's bad enough. So those are some problems there. And then looking at it from the side is also important. So you want to evaluate from the front of the horse and also from the side of the horse. So the side of the horse, you want this normal, on the far left at the bottom, this normal leg structure there, where if you draw a line straight down, that's going to hit right behind the hoof. So some horses may be camped out, which is this picture right here, where their front leg is really out very, very far in front of that line. And then you have calf kneed, where the knee falls behind that line. Then you have camped under. Kind of most of the leg falls behind that line. And you can kind of see why that would cause problems if you're riding or if the horse is doing anything fully. And then you have buck kneed, where the knee is really, really far in front and kind of bucked out. It almost looks a little bit like knock kneed, but from the side. There's kind of problems there with the front legs. And then similar with the back legs, you want this kind of ideal position. Too wide is not very good. Too close, also not good. Bow-legged, just like the front, could be a problem. And then in the back, they can be cow-hocked, where kind of like knock-kneed, their knees are kind of tilted in. So those can all cause problems. And then, again, you see that ideal position for the back. And then some of them, this is called standing under, when their leg is kind of like in a little bit too much, a little forward. Camped out is when the leg is too far back from that ideal position. And then post-legged is when the leg is too straight. So post-legged, they don't have that good angle. And so if you were riding this horse, it would be kind of bumpy and really abrupt, and their joints are going to take a lot of hit because the weight is not distributed evenly. So you really want to pay attention to these things when you're purchasing a horse, or know that if you have a horse that has one of these, that they may be a little bit limited in what they can do, and just be aware of that. So some other aspects of conformation, way of going or tracking is something that you want to consider and look at. So that can be strongly affected by leg conformation. Obviously, the way that their legs are structured is going to affect how they move. So horses with the correct leg conformation will have a full range of motion and move without interference. So they won't kind of, some horses may run and like knock their knees against the other one and things like that. Their legs might kind of swing in when they run. And so that can cause all kinds of problems. And eventually possibly even lead to lameness if the weight's not distributed evenly. Muscling is another thing that you can look at as far as conformation. And one thing to really keep with muscling is it's from a breed. So not all breeds are going to look the same as far as muscling, so you really need to know what is typical for that breed. And the areas that you want to look at for muscling, which I kind of talked about in the external anatomy picture, so these are just a few little areas that you might want to be familiar with. You want to look at the chest, the forearm, the loin, stifle, and gaskin to kind of determine muscling. Those would be areas where it would be really apparent. And the muscle in those areas should be really well defined. So you can go back and look at the external anatomy picture to kind of see what those specific areas are. And then another thing that you want to consider is breed and sex character. So basically that refers to how well a horse actually represents its breed and its sex as far as its physical appearance and muscling and things like that. Now we're going to move into horse reproduction. So horses are long day breeders, and they breed in the spring so that the foals are then born in the spring because their gestation length is almost a full year, 336 days. So they're called long day breeders because they will start breeding as the daylight is actually getting longer, as the days are getting longer when you move into spring and summer. So long day breeders is where that kind of comes from. And so the scientific term for horse reproduction is that they are seasonally polyestrous. So that means that they will have multiple estrus cycles, but only during part of the year, which is why that's seasonally. So increasing daylight hours in the spring and summer will actually increase cycling and mating. And so therefore in the northern hemisphere, their natural breeding season would be in the spring and summer, when the days are starting to get longer. So seasonally polyestrous is a good term to be familiar with because we're going to talk about other types of livestock and animals and see how they compare to that. And so be familiar with that term.
Okay, they're here if you're ready.
Okay. Do you want me to stop and just let them talk? 'Cause I
Yep.
can do that. Okay.
Or do you want to stay connected, or do you want me to go ahead, let you go about your day?
It doesn't matter. I can stay connected and listen to what they have to say and whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll stay. That way, if anybody has any questions later, I heard everything.
And for the record, I've gotten bandwidth error messages for you several times while you were talking, so
Okay.
it may be all the rain. Y'all are having some bandwidth issues.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see what I can find out about that.
Okay. Well, let me get them going. Sure. Let me switch the camera for you. Okay. Yeah, she's not talking. Yeah, that's Leanne, and what occasionally what may pop up. We've got students in Keysville, and we have students at Patrick Henry that are Martinsville. And she's in Raleigh at the moment. All right. At NC State. Which I won't make any other critical comments about NC State at the moment. Moving right along. But did y'all win your football game this weekend?
NC State?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I was watching the Tech game.
Yes, good call. Good call. Yes.
State lost.
They lost that one 35-28.
Oh, okay. But at least Tech won, so that was a good game to watch.
I'm a Hokie at heart, so I was definitely watching that game.
Good girl. Good job. Okay, so this is Darren Lee. You're the regional.
I'm a district manager with National, and this is Doug Miley, who's our branch manager.
If y'all can start staying sort of in front of the TV or whatever. Yes, there's a camera on sitting on top of the projector. I'm gonna maybe turn off the TV so they're not like staring. She's not staring over your head.
Yeah.
See, this is what everybody wants.
Like the weather.
Yes. Okay.
All right, well, I guess for the folks here and the folks online, thanks for giving us some time. Again, Doug and I are with the Fast Call Company.
She's back.
Okay, man. I'm gonna temporarily mute you, Caleb. Or Leanne.
All right. So again, we're with the Fast Call Company. I guess, is anybody familiar with Fast Call? Is anybody?
No, she's haunting.
That's fine.
Yes, carry on.
Is anybody in here familiar with Fast Call? No. So what we are, we're a full-line industrial construction supply company. Nationwide, we've got about 2,500 branches across the country. More specifically, my territory consists of about a dozen branches, mainly in North, Central, and Eastern North Carolina. And I've got 2 branches in Virginia, one being South Hill and one being South Boston. So the reason we're here today is, I work with Dixie Dalton in the business department, and Tom has been fortunate enough to let me in his class here. But really, we're here to present opportunities for jobs. I'd say 90% of our new hires start entry level on a part-time basis, and we look to promote from within. So, Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, at one time you started part-time.
Yep. 6 years ago.
So 6 years ago, he started part-time. Our branch actually here in South Hill. Worked his way up to full-time. He was an outside sales rep for a couple of years. And for the last 2 years, between 2 different stores, he's been branch manager. So, and that's not an uncommon scenario. Myself, I went to UNC Charlotte. I got hired right out of college into full-time, so I didn't do part-time, but I started full-time out of college with really no industry experience. As an assistant store manager, I did that for about 4 months, and then became a branch manager. I ran a branch in Morrisville at my RTP in Raleigh-Durham area for about 9 years. I've been in this role for right at 4. So again, it's advancement from within the company, and really the typical career path within Fastball is to start entry level, work your way up to full-time, into an outside role, and into management. And what we are, I know I mentioned we're an industrial construction supply company, but we're selling things like tools, nuts and bolts. Fasteners is our biggest commodity. We fasten all, you think fasteners, but safety products, light bulbs, air filters, really anything think of as in a production facility, whether they're building cars, they're building homes, they're maintaining buildings. So
Did you make like the orange safety cones?
we don't make safety cones, but we do distribute safety cones. So we had a huge promotion like in July on safety cones. We had picture a road crew out there reading safety cones. They've got hard hats, vests,
I
glasses.
want orange cones for training purposes.
Gotcha. Well, we can supply you with safety cones. So some of our bigger customers nationwide, which you might have heard of, Procter & Gamble, Eaton Powerware, General Electric. Those are some of our bigger national partners. More regionally specific, we've got NC State's actually a customer of ours. So I've got a store right by the fairgrounds at NC State, and we service the campus. So in the wintertime, they're buying truckloads of ice melt. Throughout the year, they're doing facilities maintenance, so they might be buying Clorox or air filters or light bulbs. And really what we do and how we go to market is it's business-to-business sales. So we're looking at calling on, again, manufacturing facilities, maintenance repair, electricians, contractors, things like that. And we're not in the business to sell things people may need. This is stuff these businesses are using on a daily basis. Whether or not Doug and I show up, they're going to buy it from somewhere. Where we succeed is going in there and showing a value and giving them a reason to do business with Fastball versus going to market. So, for example, like if you're selling insurance, you have an option to buy insurance. Selling lawn care, you have an option whether you want to treat your lawn or not. For us, manufacturing facility down the road, we're going to need hard hats, safety glasses, screws, tools. So again, we're just looking to build partnerships with those companies, working with their supply chain, again, just providing them an outlet to get those materials. And so again, for us, we're here today to let you know that we have opportunities as far as part-time jobs. I guess for the folks in this group here, anybody here looking for a part-time job or currently have a part-time job? You're looking? You have 3. Okay. So are you, I guess, from being in this class, I would assume you're like in an ag program?
Yeah, I'm in an ag program right now pursuing to become equine trainer. Currently, I'm a farrier.
Farrier?
And I'm an assistant and math tutor.
Okay. All right. What about yourself?
I'm working with Fish and Wildlife over at Pickett part-time.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yourself? Okay. All right. So I guess, does everybody have a set target of what you want to do upon graduating the program? You do? By yourself?
Not
Not sure. Okay. By yourself? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, and that's fine. Different people go to school for different things. Doctors go to school because they want to become a doctor. Myself, I went to school, like I said, UNC Charlotte. I went the business route because not bright enough to be an engineer, I'm not smart to be a doctor. So my dad was an accountant, my stepdad, was in sales. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do the business route. So I did the business route, and even up until my junior year, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I ended up, kind of falling in line with industrial operations management. I remember, the spring of my junior year, my parents were like, all right, Darren, you're ready to graduate in about a year and a half. You need to find a job. So I went to the career fair, and there's all these different companies there, and it's kind of intimidating, to be honest with you. Still didn't know what I wanted to do. I ended up finding Fastenal my junior year, and we talked about doing an internship. It didn't work out, but senior year, they're like, all right, you didn't get an internship last summer. You graduate in 3 months, but you need to find a job. So, all right, I went to the career fair again, and I ended up finding Fastenal again. It was, hey, remember me from last year? Anyways, long story short, the guy that I met the year prior ended up offering me a full-time job. So I know what it's like to be in college and look for jobs and not know what you want to do. And for me, Fastenal provided an opportunity to really have a career. When I first started with the company, I still didn't know how. Everybody's like, yeah, just work here for a year, get some experience. Well, a year turned into, I got hired in 2004, so it turned into a little over 13 years. So for me, it's been a real career job. And again, I went into it not knowing the industry, not knowing what construction products we use where and how, but I knew that I was at least smart enough to figure it out. If you teach me how it's used, I'll learn the rest. That's kind of our same mentality now. Is, we don't really require, long time sales experience. Really, what I look for, and this might be cheesy, but I use it all the time. I look for PhD. Are you professional? Are you hungry? Or are you driven? If you have those characteristics, we can teach you how to sell industrial and safety supplies. So
you do hire full time, so not only just starting off part time, but you want to hire someone.
Yeah, that's probably more a rarity, to be honest with you, because kind of our company culture is we start entry level, and we look to again promote from within. So again, we're not opposed to going outside and hiring straight full time hiring, but kind of goes against the grain. We've got these stores that have part time folks paid.
Other specific qualifications that you have to fulfill?
Again, I just look for someone, I kind of go back to that PhD, mentality.
There's no certain college credits or whatever.
No, again, I'd say half of our company probably has some sort of degree, maybe half doesn't. But again, if you have a willingness, desire to learn, you have again, the ability to want to learn, want to be successful in life. Again, the products that we sell need to be taught. There's certain things you can't teach people. So I can't teach someone to.
The main job description would be more like business and sales versus right?
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, we get our hands dirty.
Yeah, you get your hands,
So we're filling nut and bolt bins at truck shops, auto garages. We actually call on a lot of farms. A lot of farms, even in this area, we sell to a ton of farms. Every one of them has bolt. They're using WD-40, they're using grease, they're using chain, things like that. So,
my asking is, my father is looking to leave his current job, and he's had probably 20 years or so experience as an electrician. I mean, he's looking to more slow down toward not being in a ditch and carrying giant solar panels up the ladder by himself. He just had double knee surgery, so after that,
yeah, again, we're open to anything. So, it's, we're simply here today to just give everybody an opportunity to understand what Fastenal is. And, I've got a colleague that says, we're the biggest company that nobody knows about. When I started in 2004, think we had about 9,000 employees. We're about $1 billion in sales. Now we've got over 25,000 employees and we're close to $4 billion in sales. And 4 billion, like I said, that's a big number, but it's really less than 5% of the entire market share of the industrial world. So we've got a ton of room for growth. We know we're going to go to 5 to 8 to 10 billion. The question now is, when? And that's where my job comes into play, is to bring in that next wave of leaders that 5 years down the road, Doug's sitting in my shoes, and you're sitting in a store manager's role. So the only way for us to grow, I don't want to say responsibly, grow efficiently is to, again, bring new people on board and let them grow within the company. Because again, the industry says that there's business out there to get. Now it's just our job to go out there and get it. So,
have you ever heard of a company called Excel Electric? Okay. Some people probably have heard of it. It was a man who started his business, and he hired my dad, who has been used to being like supervisor and everything else. Now he was the one just underneath the boss, and he went from 2 people to now.
gotcha.
Because
Okay.
of my dad.
Good. Okay. Good question.
You mentioned the part-time jobs and full-time jobs. What benefits are there to working for the company? What kind of positions do you hire? Like when you hire a part-time, is it how many hours could a part-timer expect, and what kind of pay range do they?
Sure. So try to answer all your questions. So our part-time sales associate, that's I'd say 80% of what I post is a part-time sales associate. The other one might be part-time support. But our part-time sales associates are working anywhere from, I'd say, a minimum of 10 hours a week up to a maximum of 30 hours a week. Typically, our business hours are Monday through Friday, 7 to 5. So a lot of our new hires they're in schools, they're taking classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They like work all day Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, however that shakes out to be. Starting hourly rate, I started $10 to $12 an hour. And then within, we have a training platform which we call our Fast Home School Business. And I like to throw that carrot out there that if you can get your 90% of your tier 1 store phase 1 training done within that first 90 days, and make incentivized with another $1 per hour. And then from there, we're taking our best sales associates and promoting them to full-time roles, whether it be in that same store or a neighboring store, or maybe even across the state if we run the relocate. And then as far as benefits for full-time, we offer full dental, health, like Blue Cross Blue Shield. We've got a 401k program. I think the first year, up to the first 5 years, you get 2 weeks vacation, a week sick, and then it tiers up from there. So those are our main full-time benefits right there. Did I answer all your questions?
What kind of, and I know this is going to be hard with a company that size, what kind of full-time jobs as far as what you'd be doing and what pay ranges for them?
Yeah, so I guess I'll go back to the part-time sales associate. So as a store sales associate, you'll be working really directly under the branch manager. So, and it's each branch, we'll say they have, give or take, 5 to 7 employees. So the branch manager is really like the person that's in that store. And typically there's maybe 1 or 2 full-time sales folks within that branch, and you kind of have a supporting cast of the sales associate. As a sales associate, you're doing really everything on a daily basis to support the business. It might be receiving the truck, it might be making deliveries, it might be servicing some of our accounts, it might be handling customers that call over the phone, it might be helping customers as they walk in. It might be doing inventory counts. It might be doing a special project within the branch. And just really everything that's in the day-to-day business, our sales associates are really learning the business model from the ground up. And then as you get promoted to that full-time role, again, the folks that show that most willingness to learn, show that aptitude that, hey, you catch on quick, here's a full-time opportunity, we want you to put in for it. As a full-time, outside sales rep, you're going to be managing a book of business. That might be anywhere from 100 to 150 accounts. Your job there is just to really, maintain that book of business as far as the sales dollar goes, grow it, establish new relationships. And then as you go, our best sales reps, ideally, are becoming branch managers. And then from our best branch managers becoming district. That's probably the more vertical path. That's probably more relevant to about 10 years ago. However, now when I say 10 years ago, we were opening stores like wildfires. Every 6 months in Raleigh, there's a new store opening up. So that was the quickest way to go. Now, I'm not going to say that's not the case, but we have more established markets. Maybe we're not opening as many stores, but we're adding more sales reps. We've actually, gone to market a little bit differently now as far as instead of opening branches to service a market, we're opening branches now to service one account. If there's an account in South Boston, I established an account that they're just going to service one customer. I've got an account down in Creedmoor that they do over $1.5 million a year. It's one customer. So we've got strategic account management. We've got we have government sales reps. All I do is call on government. So there's a state of North Carolina government rep. Calls on all government entities, universities and schools, to the city of Raleigh, city of Durham, etc. We've got safety specialists, so they focus on large opportunities for safety. They call on the DOT to try to quit all their safety vests or cones, things like that. So there's a lot of different avenues within the company to go. Again, the more traditional route is entry level sales rep to branch manager.
Can I jump in for a second? He said a couple of things that if you put two and two together, what we talked about Thursday. He's not necessarily looking for traditional people that graduate from college with a bachelor's degree in business and that kind of thing. He's looking for the right people. And so they're a tool and hardware company, and like I told y'all last week when I was talking, he's like, they're hungry for our agribusiness students. Why? Well, because you're agriculture people, but you understand about what the workers that are going to be buying the tools, the hardware and stuff, what they're looking for. And so that's kind of what he's looking for here. He's talking to agriculture students that we don't have any accountants in this classroom. He'll be talking to the accountants later today. But that's not what he's looking for. He's looking for those other skills coming down to, and correct me if I'm wrong, the ability to write a complete sentence is a beautiful thing. The ability to talk like you have some sense, be respectful, and that kind of. You look for that kind of stuff a whole lot more, I assume, than just numbers and business class. And that's why we're like, I was like, Festa, I'll bring them in here, but I had a 2-minute conversation with Dixie. Because what they're looking for is people like you. He's looking in the non-traditional route, but that's fine.
And honestly, that you hit it to a T right there. I mean, it's again, when I was in school, I'll be honest, I struggled with finance and accounting. I got a D in accounting, I got a C in finance, vice versa. But again, my aptitude is more or less, you just said, I'm going to write a quick sentence. You hold a conversation. That's real world stuff you need. I don't care if you're going to be a veterinarian or a doctor or sell industrial supplies. Companies look for folks who can either not hold a conversation, have some professionalism, show up on time to an interview, tuck your shirt into an interview. Things like that are just, again, those are things I can't teach people. Some folks just have that innate characteristic to be successful in life. We can teach them how to sell those, how to go call on a construction site where they've never stepped foot on a job site. There's certain things that you just can't teach people. There's certain things you can't. And for me, I'd rather be able to teach people with no experience in the industrial market to have a willingness to be a sponge. You teach me, I'll learn it, I'll jump on up to it. Those are the type of folks who are successful. I even look at, he's not with the company anymore, he sits on our board of directors, but Will Overton was the CEO of our company. I remember when I first started, someone asked me the question, hey, do you provide money to go back to school? He's like, because unfortunately, Castle doesn't, because I only had a 2-year trades degree. I'm looking at this guy like, he's the CEO of our company. And, again, times were different 30 years ago, but still, it's not like we're the type of companies now. You have to have a 4-year degree, you have a 4.0. I'll be clearly honest, I don't want a 4.0. I'm not saying that I don't want people who aren't smart, but I need people who are from the real world. The real world, yeah. Like I said, I'll be honest, I had like a 2.8 GPA in college.
That's better than mine.
Yeah, I might not even have a 2.8, but I look for people just have that natural, that hometown feel, that salt of the earth, good, old-fashioned, just American culture where you're not scared to get dirty, you're not scared to put in the work. And the folks that do that from the company, I guarantee you they're successful or will be successful. Again, Doug's a great example. I didn't know him when he was part-time. When I first took on his story, he was a full-time, sales associate. I said, man, why aren't you in outside sales? He had that go-getter mentality. So we put him in outside sales and then presented him an opportunity to run a branch down in Youngsville, which is just north of Wake Forest. And he ran that for about a year. And then, opportunity came for him to come back to the Southville market and run the store. And been, manager officially for about a year and a half now. But again, he's just done a great job. And I've got countless examples within my district. Folks that, either they started entry level or when I turned my role on as district manager, I promoted them from within. And it's nothing I've done to make them better. It's what they've done. And, again, maybe I've played some part of their success, but everybody's success in the company is really depicted on the work you put into it. I believe in that wholeheartedly. If you don't, the work you put out for the most part is the work you put in. The work you get out is what you put in. That's good. I'm glad you brought that up because that's essentially what I'm looking for.
And I think Flint was a little bit hinting at his work conditions. How much time is going to be sitting behind a desk? How much time's on phone? How much time working behind a counter? How much time's riding around in a truck going from business to business? If somebody got a job there, what could they expect?
If you want to sit in a desk, don't work for that. Yeah. No, I mean, for us, our entry-level students, kind of like I was saying, it's cross-training and everything running a business. We've got our stores are, you might walk into and think, oh, this looks like a Sherwin-Williams or an Ace Hardware. It looks like that, but we're not that. I'd say 80–90% of what we sell is actually off-site. We're going to a customer's facility, either filling up bolt bin or taking orders. As an entry-level sales associate or even as a manager, you're very rarely sitting still at desk. A lot of it is, customers come in, you're helping them find a product. That's probably more of the retail side of the branch. You get inundated with people coming in looking for a screw for this, or you get a contractor from, hey man, we're stopping. We got a 6-month job site. Can you help us out with ladders? Yeah, we'll feed all that stuff all day long, but the bulk, 80–90% of what we do is actually done at the customer site. And again, whether it be filling a nut bolt in or servicing one of our industrial vending machines, or maybe manning a crib within a facility. That's kind of what we do. So it's that answers your question.
The best part about the job, you're never doing the same thing twice. You really aren't. It's day by day. I'm a little different than most managers in the company. I like to fly by the seat of my pants. Even though I do schedule it out, schedules change. I got a huge power plant being built right now. I got a big Microsoft facility where tickets being built up again. I got to fly by the seat of my pants because all those customers are calling me, going, I need to be here. I can go. And all those places are 45 minutes away from the shop. So that's why I need good people at the shop and also good people riding with me to learn and pass on that. We're a great company to begin with, but with a little bit of extra oomph, we can be where I'd like to see us.
And so for myself now, I'm actually in the process of buttoning up a 5-year business plan and present to my boss and actually to the executives of the company. But so in 2016, our district, we did about, call it $14 million in sales. This year, we'll do over $6 million. I've got a 5-year projection to doing roughly, by 2021, I think I've got us projected out to be about $29 million in sales, which is almost doubling our growth in 5 years. So again, with that projected sales forecast, I need folks on the team to support our business. We could be at $50 million, but if I don't have the right people on the team to support the business, it's just a pie in the sky number. So again, I go back to when I first got hired in 2004, call it 9,000 employees and over 25,000 employees now, going from $1 billion to $4 billion. If we're going to grow, for us, I guess my challenge is just getting the right people on the team that share that same mindset of, hey, I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. You teach me what I need to learn, I'll take it from you. Again, we've got a full training platform as far as, like I said, the Fastenal School business. 90% is web-based. There's a few instructor-led classroom trainings available, but really it's about getting trained from the local branch managers. Our best branch managers are the ones that are training their people the fastest, getting them promoted from within. I mean, I was a branch manager. I think 4 or 5 people from under me got promoted to manager. I don't remember how many sales reps we had, but you know, our best managers are the ones who are able to lead their team, mentor their employees, and again, just kind of like let them fly. You know, here's an opportunity to go run this branch, which opportunity to go full time. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of what we are, what we're looking for now. Do you have a question?
I was curious about, you said your normal business hours are Monday to Friday. If somebody who's been promoted in their full-time sales or manager, how often is it that they're gonna, you know, are they gonna be working Saturdays, Sundays? Are they gonna be working holidays? You know, how do y'all work with that?
Again, it's still Monday through Friday, 7 to 5. I mean, again, I look back at my time running a branch. Very rarely did I work past that. I mean, there's times, you know, I mean, I'd come in at 6:15, 6:30, kind of, you know, receive our truck and get the day prepped. There's maybe a few days here and there where I'd stay till 5:30. I'm not gonna say that just because it's 5 o'clock before shut, you go home. There are times we work after hours, but more often than not, you know, it's a traditional Monday through Friday work. Maybe twice a year, there's a project comes up where we'll do some inventory at the store. Hey, you know, we're gearing up for such and such. That's all right. No, you're good. But you know, and we do have the traditional paid holidays. You know, Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. And some managers actually they'll stay late. I mean, I know Doug is yelling at him all the time. He's always there till 7:30 at time. Sometimes, you know, that's part of the being a responsible branch manager. Is as a manager, the best ones, again, our best branch managers, the ones who just take the most sense of ownership and take that sense of pride, ownership of your branch. Sometimes it means staying till 6 o'clock.
If I stay till 6:30, I'm leaving on Friday.
Yeah, so that's rightfully so.
I got my hours in. If I'm all caught up and ready to rock and roll, I'm out fishing.
And as far as, I think you would ask too, like what the pay was for full time. I mean, our entry level sales reps are base salary is $30,000 a year. Our average entry level sales rep with take home and commission, you're probably looking to earn $40,000 comfortably your first year. You know, and then our branch managers, I'd say on average, $65,000. You know, is probably a good wage for a branch manager. Maybe we could say 50,000 to 75 is probably a good sweet spot for most of our branch managers. I know quite a few that are making 75 to 90. So it's money's out there. The opportunity's out there to grow with me. When I first took over my branch years ago, I think we maybe did $40,000 a month, less than $500,000 a year in sales. When I left, we did, you know, almost $2 million a year in sales. We grew the branch, you know, and it was 9 years of growth. But, I think my first year as manager, I made like $35,000 a year, and definitely was a lot more than that by the time I left.
You're kind of in control of that too, because you get a base salary plus you get at a certain level in our business, outside sales, even inside sales full time, you do get commission. You can make whatever you want to do. You can be a slacker. We obviously don't want that. Or you can be a go-getter and you can make something.
So this is a company where it's definitely different pay for different levels.
And as far as our entry level roles too, I know I keep harping on entry level, but again, it goes back to our culture of just starting on the ground level, working your way up. You know, if someone were to get hired on today, and they say, you know, month in, however long it takes, if you refer someone and then get them hired, I offer an incentive as like a referral bonus too. Again, the lifeblood of our stores, lifeblood of our company is our stores. Lifeblood of our stores is our employees. So if you were to get hired on board, you say, hey, you know what, I've got 2 or 3 people I know that'd be a good fit for Fastball. One of them you bring on board, you refer, I incentivize referral bonus too. And I'm speaking to students from Keysville. We have a branch in Boston as well as South Hill. And I know there's a location out near Martinsville.
Yeah, there's one in Martinsville, there's one in Danville.
Correct.
At least.
I don't oversee those markets, but we do have a Fastball in Martinsville. We do have a Fastball in Danville. I think there's about 50 branches or so in the state of North Carolina. about 50 or so in the state of Virginia. So, pretty much if there's a decent town within North Carolina, Virginia, it's probably fast all within 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, Keysville, y'all know where the Fastenal lives in South Boston? It's right there on 360 just before you get into South Boston.
It's right by the racetrack, about
Yeah.
a half mile from the racetrack.
Does anybody in Keysville have any questions? Or, they do have a follow-up. Y'all happy? Okay, how about y'all, Patrick Henry? Y'all have anything?
I do.
Okay.
Does your company offer any kind of internship?
Good question.
Yes and no. And the yes part is, well, let me start with the no part. So the no part is we don't do your traditional, summer internship. And really the reason being is for us, there's a lot of time invested in doing an internship. So like the traditional summer internship for us, it might take you an entire summer to get up to speed. And the amount of work we put into getting some up to speed to train them, we have to say, hey, come August, I got to go back to school. It doesn't really work for us. However, if you're employed with us and you have internship requirements you need to fulfill, we can sign that box every Friday for you if you need to have credits met for school. But for us, we'd like to retain that candidate while they're going to school. So that's where the yes and no comes.
So the internship would be a part-time employee. That's
Correct.
yes. So you just get a job and there you go.
Yeah, so if I were to hire someone today and say, hey, next summer, I still want to work with you guys, but I have to have credits for internship. Yeah, the manager will sign that paperwork.
So would it have to be a summer, or could it be like January to May?
However that shapes out. I use summer internship. That's just what I'm more familiar with. But yeah, if it's we do work-based learning too. So if someone has that, where they have to work so many hours to get credits, we can support that too. But for us, everything's paid. We like to retain you as an employee, promote you when you're done with school or whatever you've done. You've already graduated. Upon that full-time opportunity. So yeah, it doesn't have to be summer. That's whatever.
For the agribusiness program, we have internships. It's like AGR190 and AGR290. And they actually work in fall and in the spring kind of thing. So it would just be a matter of if you wanted to try to get credits with it, you would apply as fast as possible, and then you would sign up there, Patrick Henry, and then you have to end up writing some reports about what it is, logs about what you've done and what you've learned and all that kind of stuff. You can do it. Talk to John after class. You might get, it might be too late to start this semester. I don't know. But that's a very real possibility.
And for us, we look to recruit year round. So we don't just look to hire in the spring and the fall. If I could hire one person or two people every single month throughout the year, I'd be happy. So if it's something maybe, hey, you know what, this is the right time for me to look for a job, fastenal.com/careers, and there there's a couple of videos where we talk a little more about Fastenal. You can type in your zip codes and see if there's a Fastenal within 25 or 50 miles from wherever you are, and you can apply right from there. I'll leave you my card if anybody wants some information. You can follow me directly. So if there's ever a time when you don't see a posting, you say, hey, you know what, Doug, I looked online, I don't see a posting for a store in Southfield. Let us know. I'm actually going to post them, so I think our postings are only allowed to be posted for 2 weeks at a time. This is our HR policy. He always does it. Hey, post a job. I've got a candidate who might be interested. I'm just going to post a job, and it takes about 24 hours. The posting is like 5.
The next thing, what advice would you give them as far as the students, as far as educate? And I want them both of y'all to answer this. As far as education, what it is that they should be thinking about doing, looking for, as far as not just to work for Fastenal, but just in any kind of career advice you can give them. What work you did for y'all through the years?
Stay motivated. That's my biggest thing is motivation for myself as well as my employees. I like to keep everybody on a happy-go-lucky kind of situation in my store, because that's what I'm looking for in my store. I'm not looking for somebody that slouches in their chair, that you know, somebody that dresses appropriately, speaks correctly, comes in the store, shakes my hand, shakes my employee's hand, introduces himself. Common stuff isn't that common anymore. For instance, you know, in the last 10 months, I've had probably 25 interviews. I've hired 2 people, but I've had 25 interviews, and a lot of them don't know how to act. A lot of people don't know how to act. Whether it be nerves, don't be nervous. You know, that's your biggest thing going into an interview. Act yourself. We're all human. You learn from your mistakes, have a smile on your face, and move forward from it. Fastenal is a great company to work for. It's a lot of fun. I like to have a lot of fun in my interviews as well. So, you know, be yourself.
I'd say do some research on the company. I mean, I remember when I was back in school, you know, our teachers, you know, am I going to get interviewed from a lot of companies supporting students? Do some research on the company before you actually have an interview. I look for that now too. I mean, I always ask, what do you guys know Fastenal? You just, you guys sell nuts and bolts. And what do you really know? I mean, anybody can look that up real quick. Seriously, take 5 to 20 minutes, go on their website, you know, do a Google search, and find out, you know, not just a website of what they look like they do, but dive a little bit deeper on it, find out what they get involved with the community. How many employees do they have? How many locations do they have? Because again, a lot of employers are going to ask you, what do you know of the company? You know where we're headquartered. You know where we're founded. Again, it's just simple stuff. It's just a lot of intangible things that employers look for. That, again, like Doug said, you know, have some enthusiasm, have some professionalism. Just come prepared and know why you applied to that company. Don't just apply to a company because I need a job and they have a posting. Not that you need to know what your career needs to be 10 years from now, but hey, you know, this has some. What you do has interest to me. Pursue. If I say, why do you want to work here? I need a job. Okay, yeah, so do I. But you know, why do I want to hire you? Because you need a job. No, it's not going to work. So you know, have a reason why you want to apply to it. I don't care if you're applying to us, at school, or to Walmart. Have a reason why you want to apply to me.
But don't lie to them and start saying, I've been dreaming of nuts and bolts and knives since I was 4. You know, just they'll see.
Yeah. Because I know you're lying about that.
Yeah. But it's like Caitlin, she's been wanting to be a veterinarian for years. So yeah, she's got the line for when she goes to apply to vet school. But if you don't dream about nuts and bolts, don't tell them you dream about nuts and bolts. Be honest with you. And that's the nice thing for you agriculture students. You're used to working outside. Most of you have farm connections. Used to working outside, working with your hands, working with this kind of stuff. And a little bit like what Caitlin was talking about for her father. It's like, for him, he's like, I'm used to working outside. I like it, but I'm getting old. So I need something that's not going to break my back anymore. So do that. But y'all are in my wheelhouse of what it is I'm interested in doing, what I've been doing for all my life. And so that's his feeling. That's the answer to that question. And that's a legitimate answer that they can relate to, but it's got to be honest. And they both are shaking their heads. They agree with it. Any other questions?
Do you all have extra business cards on?
I got a whole stack.
Okay. For you, Patrick Henry, so people I can like email you his address or his email address, that kind of thing. And I've got his card.
Bunch cards too.
And so it's good to touch base with them. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm there.
There you go.
I mean,
If you don't have any other questions, Leanne, did you have anything else for anybody?
No, I think I'm good. Other than just a quick note, I will be pre-recording for Thursday. I have to fly to Minnesota, so.
So when was that?
This Thursday.
This Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, I have an interview.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you don't have any other questions, well, go out and have fun. Dream about nuts and bolts.
Thank you.